Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Darrow here with another Options and Play video update. I don't do option flies as frequently as I do just your standard spreads or or obviously calls and puts, right? So you're just your straight calls and puts. Um, I I feel like option flies are a great tool to have in your arsenal, right? So if you want to expand a little bit beyond straight calls and puts and spreads and into something a little bit more exotic, option flies are definitely one of the stepping stones there. The thing with flies though is that it's a little bit more it's a little bit more calculated, right? You need to have a little bit more like thought process going into it because the thing with the fly is you essentially want a stock to trade into a fixed range and not any more or any less, right? So you need a stock to trade within like a certain band, but if it goes too far, then it starts to negate the spread, and if it doesn't move enough, obviously, then the spread won't benefit, right? So there's definitely a little bit of more game planning that goes into determining what levels and what strike prices to go with, right? So when I look at flies, I like to try to line up the midpoint with key technical levels, right? And meaning, so let me use NVIDIA's example, right? So coming into the week, I knew AMD was reporting. I knew it was going to be a big week for chips, and I knew that recently AMD and NVIDIA have been moving in tandem with one another, right? So my thinking was, right, was so when NVIDIA started to show signs of reversal, if AMD is good, then I feel like that should help out NVIDIA, right? And when NVIDIA crossed back above the 8 EMA, to me, it seemed like there was like a path for like kind of like a steady bounce to the upside, right? So I was looking at option pricing. I thought it was a little bit elevated for weekly contracts. I wanted to look at a strategy that was a little bit lower debit. So I went with call flies, okay? So for me, I try to use the relevant levels on a chart, right? So I thought when it started to break back above the 8 EMA, there was a path up to the 100-day, okay? And you can see like going back that the 100-day has been a pretty significant area. They marked the low in October, and then it marked the low before it broke it uh, just in January. So I thought that if Nvidia started to bounce, there could be a pretty quick path back to the 100-day. At the time, the 100-day was around like 261, so it's ticked up a little bit. Now it's a little bit over 262. So for me, when I'm looking at flies, I want to have the midpoint line up with what I consider to be a relevant level. And the reason I do that is because I would like the stock to hit that area and pause, right? Because for a fly to get maxed out, it has to close right at the midpoint of the fly. So if you did contracts that were 255, 260, 265, the max gain on that fly would be if the stock closes Friday at 260, right? So the best chance to get a stock hit a level and pause is if it's like a key technical level, right? So the 100-day being at right around 260, I thought that was like a key technical level. It was important in October. It was important in December, in January. And I thought if it started to rally, it could be important on the upside. So just in general, like this is something I try to do when I'm looking at flies is try to line it up with like a key technical price point, so I know that maybe there's like a better chance that the stock hits it and pauses because again, I mean to recognize a max gain on a fly, the stock needs to close right at the midpoint of that strategy. So if you're trying to figure out like how do I know what level the stock is going to pause at, well, big resistance, big support, moving averages. I feel like those are give you maybe a good idea of where the stock could pause. Okay. So it's just something to consider if you're ever looking at option flies because I mean they are useful, but they're also a little bit trickier. So it's a little bit more thought that goes into them when you're trying to open those. Okay. All right. So if you like this video and you're looking for more information about trading option flies or trading some different option strategies, please follow up with the link in the description of the video for more information on options to play. Have a great night. Stay well. And I will talk to you